The Prime Minister has accepted so graciously the increase in his salary. Let us listen to this article. Here's why I need to read the actual article so that I can quote his words, because his words are very telling. Let me read the article for you. This is from the Newsday. It was published about 2 hours ago. It is 6 p.m. on Thursday, the 28th of November. The Prime Minister has accepted the salary increase proposed by the Salaries Review Commission for the Office of the Prime Minister. The increase will see his salary increase from around $59,000 to $87,000. Speaking to the media during the post-cabinet media briefing on November 28th, Dr. Rowley said, in quotation marks, "I have accepted the work that they, the SRC, have done." More quotation marks. "The recommendations have come after work that I believe has been good work, and I am prepared to accept their work. As far as I'm concerned, that is the end of the story." Close quotation marks. When asked if he thought the salary was fair, he said, and more quotations, "Whether it is fair or not is not the point. Those who were given the assignment to do it, they have done it. These are the recommendations, and I accept it without more on this occasion." End quotation. Let me repeat. Dr. Keith Rowley says whether it is fair or not is not the point. Somebody do work, somebody had an assignment, they did their job and they gave a recommendation, and it is his job to accept it whether it is fair or not. Well, let me say something to the Prime Minister. The Commission of Inquiry cost taxpayers millions of dollars. In fact, you pay one Gilbert Peterson $8.9 million to represent Paria. It costed us money. People did good work. They had an assignment. You brought in somebody from England. He was good. And he recommended that the families of the Paria divers be paid. But you didn't take that recommendation. Just recently, a law lord in England, because all you don't know when to stop at the Court of Appeal, thank goodness for the Privy Council. When the Auditor General made recommendations, you didn't take her work seriously. So we had to go all the way to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council had to ask you, why isn't the Minister of Finance being investigated? Why you don't take that recommendation? Why you don't take that recommendation? You give a committee to do constitutional reform recommendations. They did work. They talk about term limits, which would mean 2 terms for you. 3rd term, up. No more times to go up again. You didn't accept that. When they talk about all sorts of recommendations from the Constitution, but you didn't like any of it. Fixed term dates, how the president is selected, how the various police service commission, they talk about service commissions and all of that. You didn't take those recommendations. You were prepared to say, no, we're not accepting those recommendations. And so how it is all of a sudden you can talk about recommendations and you can take recommendations. Right now you're telling public servants that you can't afford where the money coming from for the wage increases that were agreed upon. They had collective agreements from since 2015 signed, applauded, because those collective agreements wasn't just talking about wage increases. It was actually talking about ending overtime, saving the port money. So even though there would be a 12% increase, the wage bill would actually go down because there'll be less employees and there'll be no overtime. So the overall figure would actually go down. But you want to talk and tell the national public where the money coming from for wage increases. Tighten your belt. Things gonna be hard until 2027. All kinds of things that you're talking about. All sorts of different recommendations, all sorts of things. But all of a sudden, it's not a matter of whether it's fair or not. Somebody do good work. They had an assignment. They did it. They give you recommendations and you take in the recommendations. Well, I hope you go back to all the different recommendations. As I said, pay the pariah, the families of those pariah divers, pay them the money because somebody did good work. They had an assignment, they did it, and they make a recommendation. Take that recommendation. Somebody did good work in England, and they ask why the Minister of Finance not being investigated. Take that recommendation. You need to take the recommendations. What about the recommendations with the merit list when Gary Griffith was number 1 and Erla Christopher was number 20-something? Why didn't take that recommendation? Trinidad and Tobago, at some point, we have got to open our mouth and make our voices heard. This man is prepared, fair, and he has the gall to say it's not a matter of whether it's fair or not fair. He has the gall to say it's not a matter of whether it's fair or not fair. I hope all they bring in what all they have to bring in. I hope all they plant all their garden. Because honestly, if the port shuts down after this, I can't blame them. I can't blame them. Because what we are seeing from this government is that we are certainly, we're in the same storm, but them in a yacht and we in a pirogue. I hope we can find our voices. I hope we can unite on the issues that are important and demand this government has to go. Something. We have to say, we have to raise our voice. Even if they say, absolutely not, Keith Rowley, now is not the time. And you need to reject. You must show solidarity with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Show solidarity with those who have elected you to govern. If times are tough and we're waiting on the Dragon deal in 2027 and we have to hold straight and tighten our belt, then you must do the same.